There are recommendations that are very, very easy to implement, like the renaming of the arch as the memorialization arch for victims. It has not taken place. Renaming of the arch. It can take place in a week. It can be done in a week. It may require some arrangements, but government should be able to do it within a very short time. Then there are other recommendations like those who were adversely mentioned and are still in active service. It took us almost 2 years to get rid of those people.
The Victims Center in the Gambia held a press conference on Tuesday to provide comprehensive updates on the progress made in implementing the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission recommendations. The conference also discussed the government's white paper on the matter. Safiatou Nyang, representing the Minister of Justice, and Basiru Ba, Senior Legal Officer Research at the Human Rights Commission, assumed pivotal roles in presenting updates on behalf of their respective organizations during the press conference. According to Safiatou, the Minister of Justice has appointed a special advisor dedicated to advising the Attorney General on matters of transitional justice.
I'm happy to report that the Reparations Act, which at the last time I came here, it was still a bill, has been passed and assented to by the president. So we now have a Victims Reparation Act. So the Reparations Act basically sets up the Reparations Commission that will be responsible for issues relating to reparations as far as the victims are concerned. So that is a law now. We have the framework in place.
Continuing her updates, Mrs. Nyang revealed that the ban from public office has also been officially enacted as a law.
So now we have the legal framework that we can use to ban people from holding public office in line with the recommendations of the TRRC. So the Reparations Act and the Ban from Public Office Act and other legislations were passed around the same time through the extraordinary session that was convened sometime last year.
In the realm of justice and accountability, she discussed the establishment of a special prosecutor's office and bills for a special accountability mechanism.
These bills, let me not say legislations because they're not law yet. We've had an initial validation workshop with the victims and other relevant key stakeholders, and we received some feedback from them, and those changes were incorporated into the initial draft. So we now presented the bills to cabinet and they have been approved. So now we're trying to see how best we can work with the National Assembly to table the bills so that it would become law. So the Special Prosecutor's Office bill, for those that may not be aware of the rationale behind that bill, is to create an investigative and prosecutorial office so that will take over all cases relating to the TRRC. All the people that were recommended for prosecution by the TRRC, their files will be taken over by the special prosecutor once he or she assumes office, and they would be dealing with prosecuting those cases.
Mrs. Nyang also shared ongoing efforts to establish a hybrid court.
The idea is to have a hybrid court that will have the authority to apply international law, but we also have a domestic court, which is just going to specialize on post-TRRC matters, which is the Special Criminal Division. That has already been established by the CJ. The CJ or the Chief Justice has already issued the order to bring that court into being. So once we finalize the talks with the ECOWAS, we're trying to get that regional backing from the ECOWAS to set up this court.
Basiru Ba, Senior Legal Officer Research at the Human Rights Commission, provided a comprehensive review of the National Human Rights Commission's monitoring of the government's white paper implementation.
We mentioned that 6 recommendations were fully implemented, but today we can add about 3 other things that have been done since then. But all of these basically enactment of law with regards to the institutional setup and the legal framework for bringing people to book for crimes that they have committed. And we have already mentioned the acts that have been enacted since then. But at the National Human Rights Commission level internally, because we had mentioned here the last time we met that we are in the process of putting on online framework whereby the public will access timely updates and be able to confirm whether a recommendation has been implemented or by who or to what extent have we implemented a recommendation. And when we developed our framework, the MOJ later came up with their own implementation plan. And because of the differences, the divergence in terms of what is captured or what was covered in our implementation framework and what came out in the implementation plan of the Ministry of Justice, we had to put our framework to a stop and hold it so that we will reconcile and synchronize everything, all the tables that we have with that which is covered in the implementation plan of the MOJ.
The press conference served as a platform for open dialogue, enabling the exchange of views and the clarification of relevant issues related to the TRRC recommendations and their implementation. Additionally, it provided an opportunity for the public to gain insight into the perspectives of governmental and non-governmental entities involved in this crucial process. Reporting for Kerfatu, I am Buba Gajigo.